saw that.
Yeah, that morning I was breaking up with my girlfriend. I was hell-bent. I was breaking up, not Nashville girl, a different girl. Totally toxic relationship, right?
Yeah.
And that morning I'm telling myself, I am dumping this chick. I've been in West Texas the day before picking up my boss's son. I came home, and that night I walked in front of my father and I held a book over his face and I said, Dad, that was a great book. It was a book on tape, right? And he's got, my little brother just graduated high school, so there's all these kids and people around.
Yeah.
And I held that over his face, and he looked up at me and he smiled, and then we walked away. That was the last interaction between us. And then the next morning, I left my car there, and I told my parents, I was like, I'm going to leave my car here tonight. I'm going to go stay with Carrie, and tomorrow she'll drop me off. And so that next morning,
This is in Longview?
I figured my mom had heard me. I figured my mom had heard the car door shut.
Yeah.
My dad was always gone early for work. So, but
what did he do for a living?
He was a senior chemical technician at Texas Utilities.
Okay.
He was suffering through depression. He was in the middle of transferring from one antidepressant to another at this moment in time.
Yeah.
If you don't know anything about that, it's horrific to go through.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he was in the transition period, and so I walk up into the carport. And walk up into the carport. As I'm walking up, I see my dad standing there, and I'm like, fuck, I don't feel like messing with him today.
Oh,
That's my thought.
Yeah.
I see my dad out of the corner of my eye. I see him like standing there like he's walking up to the carport, like he's walking up to the storage room.
Yeah.
And that was my thought.
So you thought it was going to be a
just
confrontation?
Not a confrontation. No,
but you don't feel like even.
I didn't. He was depressed, and he would talk a lot for a long period of time.
And you just weren't in the headspace.
I wasn't. I was like, I want to get my car. I need to go to work. So that's where it was. And so I walk around the car and I look up and I realize he ain't standing there. He's hanging. And I flipped.
I can't imagine that.
At what point did you figure out that's what, like, the more closer you got? I'm not trying to make you relive it, but oh my gosh, you're pulling me into this.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, I mean, I would say from me to him, 15 feet. Because I'm walking around my car and I'm walking around the Suburban, and then because I had my head down, my eyes were fixed down because I'm like, shit. So I walked to the edge of the carport, and that's when I look up and I'm like, oh my god, and it was like that.
So who's there?
No question.
Was your mom there?
My mom was there. My niece was
there.
They
didn't know?
They had no idea. I don't know.
So you were the first one
in
to find
this
out.
moment. I don't know.
So
all I know is that my dad's hanging.
What do you do? Pick up the phone, call the ambulance?
No. I turned around and I ran. I had a McDonald's cup in my hand of orange Hi-C and Marlboro Reds in my left hand, and I'm sprinting down our driveway. We had a pretty long driveway. I'm sprinting down it, and I am shaking so violently that the cup explodes. My cigarettes are going everywhere. I go down there, I slam Carrie's car as she's getting ready. She's like backing out. She's got the car in first. She's about to run away, and I just boom. And I'm just like, I can't speak. I'm just yelling, like telling her to get out of the car, like, oh my God. And so she gets out of the car and she goes, what's wrong? And I'm like, my dad.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you mean your dad? What do you mean? And it's like, he hung himself. And then I start thinking to myself, I'm like, I gotta go get him down.
Yeah.
So now keep in mind, I have my shoulder rebuilt and I don't have very good range of motion at all.
Yeah.
So like my arm's basically stuck to my side. Okay, so I run up the driveway, and I'm thinking I gotta get him down, and I stop right at the carport, and I'm just staring at him. And my girlfriend runs up behind me, and in that moment I snap to, and I'm like, I can't get him down. I don't have anything. Like I mean, in my mind is trying to process how can I get him down, and I can't. And so she tried to say something to me, and I said, come on, and I said, we gotta go tell my mom. So we run inside, and that's on the back porch, and we run around the house into the front door, and I burst the door open into the entryway, and I fall into the living room up against the couch, and I am screaming bloody murder. Mom! And she comes out of the bathroom, and she's right there.
She didn't know.
She's one door away from where he is. Okay? She comes out, she's like, Jeff, what's wrong? And Carrie's here to my side, and she's like staring at me. She's looking, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't break this woman's heart. And then Carrie goes, Mr. Thrasher, and I go, Dad hung himself. What? She completely loses her mind. I calm her down. I'm like, Carrie, you gotta sit her down and calm her down. I gotta go get my dad. And so I run to the phone first. And I call 911 and I tell them, hey, my dad hung himself. I'm at 1013 Aiken Drive. I need you here now. Sir, please stay on the line. I don't got time for that shit. And I hung up.
Yeah.
And I went and grabbed a knife and I ran to the back door and I opened the curtain and I'm staring and I'm looking out the back door at this knot that goes around my dad's neck and is pulled so tight that I'm like, how is his head even still on? Okay, I mean, there's an image you don't just get out of your mind. And so I'm thinking like, okay, how am I going to get him down? Because if I reach up and cut him, I can't catch him with my left arm. I can't reach my left arm up there high enough. So I went back in and I called my sister and then I go and talk to my mom and that quick the paramedics were there. And then it all the rest of life happened.
So were you and your dad close? Were y'all close?
We hate each other through my teenage years.
Yeah.
I was a bastard child.
But after that, were y'all?
We became friends towards the end. Really good friends.
Yeah.
And I was really glad because my dad and I were really, really close growing up. He took me canoeing and I can't tell you how many firsts that he taught me for throwing baseballs and basketball and soccer and all that. And he's a phenomenal dad. He was always there.
Yeah.
He got duped into an investment and these people stole roughly $500,000 from us and then the antidepressants on top of it. Right. So
So did this change the trajectory of your life?
In every way.
How? Tell me how. Like what from that point forward?
So I struggled greatly for about a year of just with shoulder surgeries, getting my last shoulder surgery done, and then what do they do? As soon as I go, they're like, hey, my doctor's like, hey Jeff, you're gonna feel anxious. You want some Xanax? And I'm like, I've never had it before. And they're like, well, when you feel anxious, just take this. Okay. So I do that, and I felt great.
Yeah.
And then I became addicted to it. That was fun.
Yeah.
So.
Joe, can you grab one of those ice things?
Yes.
I become addicted to that. I become addicted to hydrocodone, and I have to fight silently off of these things because I don't want anybody to think that I'm a piece of shit junkie. Yeah. I didn't mind being on it.
Yeah.
It was coming off of it. I could handle being on it great. Well, everybody thought I was normal when I was sitting there taking white bars all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't remember anything. You know, like the next day, literally like a mind eraser, you don't remember anything.
Right.
Your anxiety, you think it's your anxiety, it's through the roof, but it's actually detox. It's making you feel that way. It's not the anxiety, it's the detox making your body flip the hell out.
Yeah.
You know, so I battled through those addictions. And then I'm not doing well. My mom says, you need to go see a psychologist, whichever one can prescribe it. So
Why did she think you were doing well?
No, my mom did not think I was doing well.
But what were the signs?
Everything. Just look at me. Just look at me.
Yeah.
And you'd see there's no soul there. You could look in my eyes and there was nothing there. Nothing. And so I go talk to somebody on a Thursday and they give me Zyprexa and Zoloft. It takes 2 weeks for Zoloft to get in your system because the half-life in it takes time to build up enough of it in you to be able to feel it. So what it was the Zyprexa. Zyprexa makes you sleep.
So there's just these chemical experiments that are happening.
If you were to if you put your face and put it on a dartboard, and you were to label darts with Effexor and Zoloft and Xanax and all that stuff, that's how it feels.
Oh my God. Man.
Just shot in the dark.
So
They do this in a lot of other ways, but what my doctor was, he saw me in so much pain inside that he wanted to try to numb that for me. Okay, and that's what he did. He did. Now, I have learned since then, you cannot fix a broken soul with a pill.
Oh my goodness, they need to hear this. They need to hear this.
Yes.
Y'all need to hear this.
I'm telling you.
You have to hear this.
You cannot fix a broken soul with a pill. It don't matter what you went
Preach.
through. It doesn't matter if
Preach.
you went through
How you
suicide,
went through that.
if you
Yes.
battled addiction, if you've been beat as a child. I've met people that they graduated high
Man.
school wearing a long sleeve shirt because they were afraid of the bruises that were on their body to be
man.
seen. A high schooler, could you imagine being 18
So you mean
years
it?
old
What
being
you're
that way?
telling me is there was so much more value gained from enduring that pain and experiencing it, understanding it, having to feel it, having to endure it, as opposed to masking it and acting like it was never there.
The problem with masking is it doesn't go away.
Yes, yep, just about to say that. Just about to-
So
You have
2
to deal with
years
something.
later, when I come off of affection,
Uh huh.
guess what I gotta deal
Yeah.
with?
Same
I gotta
thing.
feel everything that I've been trying not to feel.
Man.
But I gotta do it while detoxing off of this drug.
So what?
Makes
So
it
tell
even.
me what that was like. So you obviously came out on top, Jeff. Like
What was
that's why
the-
you're here.
I tell you,
But tell us about that.
coming off of Affexer is the reason why I'm starting the program I'm starting now. I'm starting a 90-day program where I coach people how to prepare the mind
Yeah.
to get ready to start tapering.
So what is this program? Do you have a nonprofit or what is?
It's not a nonprofit.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I got to take care of my family just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
It's a coaching program that I prepare people and coach them to get their mind ready to start tapering down. I
How
give
long
them
have
all
you
the
had that
tools.
around? Tell us about that.
It's new.
I
It's
think-
new. It's something that I am literally right. So for the past couple of years, I've been coaching a lot of people, not as a program, but as just individuals. I shared these stories on Instagram. I'm sorry, not Instagram, on YouTube. Of all of my YouTube videos, speedbagging doesn't get a lot of views.
Right.
The 2 highest rating views I have are talking about pharmaceuticals, and it's because so many people are hurting out there that are trapped on these things.
So do you have a form name or what do you call this program? How do people find out about it?
It's Freedom from Dependency.
Freedom from dependency.
Freedom from Dependency. You can find us on Instagram. Just look up Freedom from Dependency, and we pop up. It's part of our website that if you go to thethrasherhouse.com, you can go to the Freedom from Dependency tab as well.
So how long have you been doing that?
I literally right now. I quit my job in January 31st. I was working for the oil and gas industry, and I finally had enough. I've been in it for 13 years, and I was a 6-figure salary person, good, comfortable life, and I walked away from it. I had enough.
Because of
So it was just I'd had enough. It just,
so do you have success stories now? People that
man,
understand your story, they know where you're going. This is what the good fight is all about.
they're
You know?
so when people watch what I went through coming off of Affexer, and what you got to realize when coming off of Affexer was you have a 25-year-old male who cannot control his emotions because I thought I did it right.
Yeah.
I was at 300 milligrams because they just felt like more would be better, right? So I'm at 300 milligrams of this stuff. I taper myself down in a month. I figure that's enough time to taper down. I taper down to 37.5 milligrams. That's the lowest you can take. So I think when I quit that shit January 1st, I made sure my mom was gone. I didn't make sure. She told me she was leaving to go see my sister for a month. And I told my girlfriend, who I met after I come home from Europe, I said, I'm going to need help. I'm going to go through the worst, ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life when I start detoxing.
Is this
off
girlfriend your
stuff."
wife now?
She is.
This girlfriend's your wife.
22 years old.
And you met her where?
We were playing soccer tennis one night at my house, and her sister brought over April.
So this girlfriend that you met during that time, the one you said, I'm going to need your help.
I'm going to need your help.
This is your wife now.
She's my wife.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's awesome.
man.
Yes, that's awesome.
I tell everybody I could not have done it without her. I couldn't be left alone for the first couple of weeks solid. You couldn't leave me alone for 5 minutes. I would have blown my brains out. The brain zaps, the vertigo, the everything that goes along with it was so intense. The suicidal thoughts, you can't unstop this.
So now you have this conviction, I'm assuming, okay, I want to see other people get through this too.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was through these videos I posted on YouTube of my experiences that people reached out saying how much they helped them.
Yeah.
and just to know that somebody out there is going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And then we talk, and I explain, and we ask where they are in their process of coming off. And most of them all are unfortunately people that tapered the same way that I did. Anyone can get away from this stuff. They have duped all of us into believing that we need this magic pill to feel right and to feel good about ourselves. Social media is one of the worst things out there. I love the internet, but it's also one of the most horrific things there is. If you spend your time on there, you will always be left in wanting and lack. Always.
It's all about how you use it.
The one thing that I've learned that I wish I would have learned this a lot earlier in life is the way that we talk to ourselves. If your negative self-talk outweighs your positive self-talk, the rest of the world will know. People who talk positively to themselves, everyone around them feels that.
So do you think the people that are on these pharmaceutical
They have the
antidepressants,
strength to get away from it. They have to have the want.
do you think that their self-talk is lacking?
Yeah.
And I say that because...
no, they're afraid.
Yeah.
If any of them have gone through, oh my God, man. Problem with the Thrasher is that it's a fast burn drug, okay? If I take it today at night, I'm going to start feeling the brain zaps, the vertigo. You feel like you have electric waves going through your body that you cannot control. If you've been through that, you know how horrible 2 hours is.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to go time to get off this stuff.
Yeah.
It's so intense for that short period of time. They're not willing to do this other stuff. But that's why you have to educate yourself.
Yeah.
You do not have to be a drone. You don't have to be a slave. When you sit there, when I used to sit there, the thing that killed me was I would sit there in those rooms to get my pills, waiting for them, and there would be all these people in there.
Man.
Motionless.
Yeah.
All of them. Man, and I see people in the store now. I can tell you, you realize 40% of the United States adults are on some form of antidepressant.
So are you telling these 40% that they could overcome that?
100%.
They could be human again?
100%.
Because I think that's dehumanizing.
It
You
is.
know what, like, really mind blows me is like, or it's mind blowing to me, I should say. Back in the day, like back when our parents were growing up, or even before that, we didn't hear things about anxiety or depression.
No.
Everybody was out there working. When your body's moving, you know, your mind works differently. You know, you got to be put through hard tests. You got to be put through hard work. It's overcoming those things that makes you feel good and makes you feel positive.
Yeah.
You know? And once you, first thing I like to do when I wake up is do something hard. Because it helps me feel positive, helps me feel, you know, like I can achieve the rest of the day.
Yeah. You know, he makes a good point though when he said the word self-talk. So, like, I study a lot of kinesiology and sports performance and so forth, and when you study sports psychology, there's certain interventions that athletes need to use to help them overcome being discouraged or being too anxious or having fear or being too worried, and self-talk is one of them.
It is.
Self-talk is one of the most important things that an athlete could do to help them enhance their performance. They got to sit there and they think about, oh, if I step in the ring, this could go wrong or that could go wrong, or maybe I'll get tired too soon, or maybe I won't be able to, push when I need to push. Well, the minute those things start entering their mind, what they should be doing is using self-talk strategies, saying,
The person who has made it through the fight.
Man,
they got to be your biggest
oh,
cheerleader.
this is so beautiful because that's the point of the show. Like, nobody was meant to suffer in silence. Nobody.
Absolutely.
In our modern Western society, I think that we're so closed off, we're so privatized because of our fear of being ashamed or letting these feelings out or letting people know that we're going through this and that, or oh, everybody else is just being nosy, and that's also the reason why people won't invade your space. But once upon a time, you raised children, a village raised children.
Yes.
Meaning they are
still do in Japan.
and which is good, which means they're supposed to get in your business.
Yep.
Because
Right.
we can't do this alone.
Everybody's
And
scared to be vulnerable.
Exactly. There's always somebody more wiser who's been through this or experienced this. Like, I think right now in our modern Western society, people suffer in silence unnecessarily. You do not have to. But because you're so closed off and you're so privatized, you put yourself in a situation where you cut yourself off from the benefits of the variety in society. You know, that's a whole nother thing. But anyways,
I can't. But the problem is, I can't tell you how many times people reach out to me on YouTube and they're like, I need help.
Yeah.
And I respond, okay, here's my number. How many times people have contacted me?
How many? Few?
Maybe 2.
Yeah, because they're ashamed. There's this whole stigma, and I call it a stigma, of being embarrassed, of being ashamed. But if you were to rewind some centuries ago, and even in some countries right now, it does take a village to raise society.
It's a really powerful thing. You see that it is possible. You know, that you have to feel that there's some Joe Dispenza shit for you.
Yeah, come on.
You gotta feel you have to feel the elevated emotion before the action happens.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a real thing. You have to feel wealthy before you're wealthy. Because even if you become wealthy and you don't feel wealthy, you will never truly feel wealthy.
Right.
You have to feel the elevated emotion before the action happens.
Yeah, well, because we're emotional human beings, we're physical human beings, we're intelligent human beings, we're spiritual human beings. We're a combination of all of those factors. And by the way, that's why I think I love boxing so much, though, because it's like everybody thinks it's purely a science. Yes, it's a science, but there's also an art. Because there's so many variables involved.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? There's so many variables. Anyways, look, this is Jeff Thrasher. He represents the Thrasher House. He creates innovative swivels for speedbagging and platforms for speedbagging. Yes. Go follow him. He could teach you some stuff.
About to teach me some
stuff. But you know, I want to be able to close out with a fun little segment. So Joe here is going to ask you a series of some rapid fire questions.
Right.
Do not take your time. Picture you hitting the speedbag. I got to answer this before it rebounds.
Yes.
And you got to actually answer.
All right. Okay.
And I'm curious. So Joe, let's go.
Man, they're just random, okay?
Yeah. No, I know.
Drink.
Man, I'm like, oh shit.
Okay, so dream car.
Dream car. 1967 Shelby Cobra.
Ooh, man.
Is that the one off Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage?
No,
Didn't
that
he
was a
steal it?
69 Cobra GT500.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Sorry, I love
I
cars.
stand
car
corrected.
I like cars.
Okay, favorite fighter as a child, not Rocky.
Mike Tyson.
Nice.
Wrong with him.
Yeah, and then Roy Jones Jr.
There we go.
That's my man.
I love Roy.
How were they on the speedbag?
But you're saying young. Roy was pretty decent, and Mike is good too.
Yeah.
But they're, like I say, different tools, different chops. Full freestyle.
All right, come on, Joe. What else you got?
Coke or Pepsi?
Neither one of them. Coke. Well, I mean, I don't drink. You see me drinking water.
I see.
Okay, but no, Coke definitely.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Which water?
Yes, there is a difference.
Which water?
Ozarka or
100% natural spring water. No ifs, ands, or buts. If it says purified, it's shit. Seriously, purified water is the biggest scam on the planet.
It's about as useless as a U-boat.
Yeah, dude, it steals minerals from you instead of giving them to you.
I see. Okay, early bird or night owl?
Oh, night owl, no.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
just speedbagging and shit, right?
All night. All night.
Favorite Halloween costume?
Oh, the Reaper.
Okay, love it. Look, how do you like your steak?
Medium. Rare.
Medium rare.
Yeah, medium rare. I don't like them just rare. I like them medium rare.
That's okay. You're not exactly sized to the lamb.
No.
You don't like the lotion on the skin.
My wife was like, just let it touch this skillet and put it on my plate. It's okay if it's still bleeding.
I don't know Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, right.
All right, favorite junk food?
Oh man, I always like it. Just instantly, I'm gonna say Twinkie, but I don't ever eat them. But I mean, it's like if I were just like that or a honey bun.
Oh, you can't go wrong with a honey bun.
Dude,
That's microwave for about 10 seconds.
Oh,
dude, man.
Yeah, it's horrible for you. But I mean, he's asking, so.
I'm gonna pick your brain when we get through. Favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Halloween.
Why?
Okay.
Dude, it's the one day that you're totally fine to be anything else.
What do you want to be on Halloween?
Usually just myself, but
Thrasher, baby.
No, it's typically if I'm like this last Halloween, I like being in the Reaper outfit and nobody knowing who I am. I like the Reaper, man.
Incognito. Yeah. I'm not mad.
As long as you're not a serial killer.
No,
There we go.
I'm not just playing.
Yeah, right.
Don't know if you're a sneaker guy, but favorite sneaker growing up?
Air Jordans.
Yes, I love it.
No ifs, ands, or buts. The one with the silver tongue. It was the black shoe with the clear bottom with the silver tongue. I think it was the '89. Still today, the greatest shoe I've ever had.
I drink to
sneakerhead.
Jordan as
Yeah.
a sneaker shoe. Heck
Yeah, I love those shoes.
Okay, favorite all-time athlete?
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Jordan followed
Really?
by Valentino Rossi. Yeah. Yeah. No, there is not one other person that I have sat there, studied, and watched in slow motion on a VHS tape of watching it where the lines are going by, like trying to learn these moves that he's doing and stuff. Yeah, while you were Speedbag.
All right, last question. If you could ask God one question, what would it be?
Joe, you want to hit him with that on the last one?
Oh man, my bad.
Damn, Joe.
My bad.
Joe, bro.
I got one more then. We'll make it light. Jake Paul or Mike Tyson? Try to bring it back around.
I really hate the fact they're going to let Jake Paul wear headgear.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I thought they wasn't going to.
Oh, did they take that away?
I thought so.
I hope like hell that the circus went away. And
But
it's
I don't
gonna
know.
be a
I
real
just heard.
fight.
Okay, so what about the answer to his question? The first one. What would you ask God?
It would be a very difficult question to come up with because I would have to thank him for something.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that
a lot.
answer too.
Okay? For
like that
not
a lot.
intervening with anything.
You know, I was always taught for every complaint that you have, come up with something that you're thankful for.
So, listen to what I just said though. It carries a lot of weight. Thank you for not affecting anything.
Everything has a purpose.
There's a reason that everything happens, and the one constant in life is change. He cannot intervene in one single instant without altering every other line down there. Altering or intervening. How's that? Maybe that's best. Thank you for not intervening one time.
I like that.
How many times have prayers not been answered?
Sometimes that's the
Helps
best.
you.
Yes.
How many times have they been answered?
Because look,
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's all point of view.
Yeah.
You're the one who determines if it was answered or not.
Man,
And look.
You're the one.
Yes.
And it only falls on your point of view, not anybody
You know why I
else's.
like that view? Because that holds us responsible for our
It does.
decisions.
That's
And
right.
because ultimately we are.
That's right.
I can't blame nobody else.
But-
I can't rationalize.
If there is a God, and I'm saying it like that,
Of course.
because right now I can't prove to you that there's not, just
Who-
like you can't
who
prove to
can?
me that
Right,
there
who
is.
can? Right.
Right. And
That's about
the,
having faith.
The only, and that's it. That's it. Faith and belief, right?
Judah, are you kidding this? Are you kidding this?
If that is what works for you,
Yeah.
that makes sense. If it makes you a more broad, rounded, understanding, and loving person, rock on.
That's
if
fine.
it makes you a cynical, closed-minded with blinders
You
on,
better re-question.
I have
You better
issues with
re-question.
that.
Because I think there's enough to actually have faith. Because you know, there's so much unanswered. At the end of the day, there's such thing as objective morality, and I'm not going to get into that. Whatever.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
hey, where's your moral compass
Yeah,
pointing to
exactly.
today?
Yeah,
Right?
we can
Yeah.
do that another
Yeah.
time. But you know what? This is the good fight.
Yes.
This is me, Coach Josh, and Joe from Terrell, Jeff
Thrasher.
from
The
the
man.
Thrasher House, and we've had a good time
Yeah.
Yes, hope
talking
y'all
to
had
you
too.
all.
Yeah.
And you know what? Follow my boy Jeff Thrasher. Follow the man Jeff Thrasher.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you all.
Yeah.
Yes, thank y'all for
Fight.
tuning in.